Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to our HubSpot user group. We're so excited today to share all the inbound takeaways. So today I brought Emil, my co-founder, with me because both Emil and I went to Boston to gather all these great takeaways from HubSpot's inbound conference. So just a quick explanation of what our Nordics SaaS HubSpot user group is, just for the ones that never joined before. So as a member of this Nordic SaaS Hub, you will learn from cases from inbound-driven business success. So normally when we have these sessions, we will bring on a case. But today we thought it was really exciting to share all the takeaways. So today we will not have a case with us. Then you get to share the HubSpot practices that support your growth journey and meet fellow inbounders who share industry-specific challenges and aspirations. So today, we will just start with a quick introduction. So I'm Lotte, and I am the HUG leader. I'm a co-founder and SaaS lead here at Helion B2B. I have a little bit more than 7 years experience with HubSpot and inbound strategy for B2B SaaS clients. And then I brought along Emil, who is also my co-founder.
Yes, and also 7 years of experience from both content marketing and a practicing perspective, and then mainly focusing on manufacturing instead.
Yeah. So today we're gonna give you some inbound strategic takeaways. So that will be primarily for all the strategic sessions that we saw in inbound. And then I will run through some HubSpot product updates and new features. And then we will end the session with a Q&A. So you can see that there is a Q&A in the chat panel. So if you have any questions, feel free to just pop them in the Q&A and we will take them at the end of the session. Otherwise, you should be very welcome to just type in general a hello and where you're from, so we know who have joined today. So let's get going.
Yeah, so I've brought a few of the strategic takeaways from our sessions. First of all, I'd just like to kick off by saying we had a really, really good time in Boston at Inbound. I did, at least. I hope you did too, Lotte. And if you haven't been, any of you, I'd really give it my highest recommendation. It was very, very inspiring to get to hear from all the best people within HubSpot, all the people working on the forefront of both HubSpot and Inbound, and some really, really great speakers too. Both the more practicing speakers and the more, you could say, like inspirational speakers. So there was Jane Goodall, for example, the famous primatologist, talking about her very inspiring work with chimpanzees, and sort of it was this panel debate. So they talked about how she talked about how she had been working with chimpanzees, and the other person in the panel sort of related it to how that transfers to gaining trust with humans. So a quite interesting discussion about gaining trust from someone obviously very skeptical, as a chimpanzee will be, not making any other comparisons between chimpanzees and clients there. And then we had a session with Barack Obama, obviously very, very inspiring, talking about not just how, but also why people, not just in America, but really the entire world actually are increasingly experiencing this disconnect from each other, which in my opinion fit perfectly with the overall theme of the conference. Because over this week of different keynotes, different breakout sessions, meetings with HubSpot reps, meeting with other people working with HubSpot, all the people on the forefront of the market, all the people working within the market, two overarching themes appear to us that we've been discussing quite a lot since. One being creativity, and the other being connectivity. So namely this connecting people in an increasingly digital world, especially after COVID, and connecting data as well. Connecting data in a marketing and sales context, and connecting data in the sense of more and more digital tools being available to us. I think HubSpot is a perfect example of this. So this issue of creativity in marketing is one that I'll be focusing on a bit less today, but there was a lot of talks revolving around content fatigue, for example, and this need for originality, and the need for quality as well. I think that's a discussion that's been going on for years now, if not decades, but nevertheless still very, very relevant. In fact, I think it's only becoming more evident, the amount of content it's just growing and growing and growing. And our concern about paying for this content with our data is increasing very rapidly. I think the decision made yesterday, at least in a Danish context, with Google Analytics being ruled illegal, it only shows that this is becoming more and more prevalent, that we are very, very protective of our data, and this means a need for higher quality of content. But the other topic, this one of connectivity, is one that I'll be zooming in a bit more. Yamini Rangan, the CEO of HubSpot, zoomed in on exactly this topic with an opening keynote titled "The Connected Customer," and talked about this issue of connecting data and connecting people. Now, her main emphasis was, connecting in a multiple senses of the word, really. So it was, as I said, connecting data between or within systems. Again, I think HubSpot is a great example of this. Also connecting companies to customers, and connecting companies to or customers to the right solutions, in part through content. And we'll get a little bit deeper into how HubSpot as a system can help you solve this, but I'd like to focus on a more strategic level. What are some of the overarching solutions that you can have a look at there? So the key issue, as Ramani explains it, is data quality and its data availability. So how do we connect our systems and our processes so that data is of a sufficient quality and it's available to all the right people? And this is because of what they've seen in the market, which I think perfectly mirrors what we've been talking to our customers about. That the issue isn't so much getting the right tools, it's connecting the tools and the ways in which they're used. And perhaps most importantly, I'd say it's connecting the data that these tools gather and how they present it. And this is some of the product launches that then came after this keynote is a perfect answer to this. So I'm very excited to hear your presentation on those, Lotte. But a lot of the actual solutions and suggestions for these challenges with HubSpot and the product updates they launched over the last year, and most recently on Inbound, we'll dive deeper into. But for the next couple of minutes, let's have a look at some of these overall challenges that Yamini highlighted and how we as businesses can solve them. So this first issue that she highlighted was companies struggling with disconnected systems. And that meant or means spending a lot of time cleaning data instead of spending it connecting with customers. And as a result of this issue, companies are spending more time actually connecting data than connecting with customers. So they have to spend hours cleaning data, trying to couple together insights from different systems. And what's worse is that the go-to-market teams, they don't have a unified view of the customers and the customer's journeys, something that HubSpot will be, at least in part, solving. So it's this age-old adage of trying to avoid working in silos, really. And the customer experience is suffering, as Yamini said, and I really agree. I think this is an issue that we've seen rising over the past decade, but I think COVID really accelerated this effect of working in silos. So everyone's disconnected in the sense that they are working from home and they're working on their own little project and not just simply talking to each other on a daily basis. That's one issue, but not having the same systems and the same data available, that's all the more prevalent a symptom of these issues. And the second issue that she highlighted is that people are disconnected from each other. Again, COVID is a very clear example of this, right? So she sees this largely as a result of the pandemic, or at least it's increasingly an issue today, with so many people working from home. We're hosting meetings remotely. We are running events like this one remotely. For what used to be or could at least theoretically be an in-person event, right? So this means all these effects together mean that people crave communities. And a quick side note, there's just a fun little oddball thing, but HubSpot, as a result of this crave for communities, actually created what is essentially a social media for HubSpotters and people working in inbound. So it's on connect.com. It's not that much alive yet. We haven't had that much time to test it out, but I'd recommend, or at least give an idea for everyone to try to create a profile in there, see what it's about, try connecting with us, and see what it's worth. It's an interesting idea. It's not the one they spent the most time on, but it's an interesting idea to create a community of HubSpotters in there as well. They had the HubSpot community before, but I think this is sort of a revamp or an add-on to this. But back to Yamini, she also highlighted a third issue, which is that companies are disconnected from their customers. So we have these like 3 layers, and she quite beautifully, I think, refers to all these issues as the crisis of disconnection. And mentions that digital fatigue and distrust essentially leads to disconnect. And her mentioning distrust, I think, is quite interesting, because she also emphasized this issue, what we briefly touched on, that privacy is queen. And now what does that mean to us as marketers? Well, our prospects don't really want to download white papers by paying with the data anymore. At least we're seeing increasingly that that's becoming harder and harder. And I think all these rulings and all this debate about privacy and data is only going to make this, again, more prevalent. And just look at what's happening with someone like Apple, the way that they are marketing their features. She highlighted this as well. Privacy is the main feature that they are promoting in their marketing material. So it's not just something that's being talked on a user level. It's something the entire market is focusing on very, very much. And this means that consumers, customers, whether it's B2B or B2C, they are going to be very aware of this as well. So we have to keep focusing on privacy, and we have to start solving for it when we're thinking content, when we're thinking inbound. We can't rely on just easily getting people's data from all available sources anymore. So what is the solution to all this? Well, in part, it's using the new features that HubSpot has created, but there's also what Yamini refers to as a connected customer growth strategy. And of course, being a HubSpotter, she gives these 6 suggestions divided into 3 phases, 2 for each of attract, engage, and delight. Very HubSpotty. So the attract phase, as she sees it, is all about first earning first-party data, and it's about diversifying your distribution. And she had this good point about utilizing some of these new media that are available. I think TikTok is one that we've been talking about a lot. There's no good reason for why, if that's where your users are, and if it's a medium that makes sense to use a marketer, why not be utilizing that to diversify? And then she talks about the engage phase of connected customer growth strategy being about first earning the open rate and then bringing context to the conversation. And this means, so the sense of earning the open rate is actually offering something valuable when you want to earn email opens. So not just pushing your latest message, but actually giving something every single time and making it very evident what you're giving. And the part about bringing context to the conversation really means giving your reps, whether it be service or sales or even marketing, but giving your people the right context for the good conversations. So I think especially in sales, we're seeing this issue a lot, that you need to be aware of the different touch points, the different data points that we have. And then finally, this delight phase, where she talks about making buying a breeze and giving customers channel choice. And I think this is one of those clear examples of B2B sort of lagging behind B2C. So it's something that in the B2C world, especially over the last decade or so, has been made so abundantly clear that if you want to buy a product, it should be easy breezy. It shouldn't take more than at most a couple of minutes, and it shouldn't rely on you jumping through hoops, essentially. And it's quite interesting that, well, why don't we mirror this in B2B? I know there's probably a ton of cases where we can say, well, it's not possible. Why isn't it possible? Why aren't we at least making it as easy as possible then? All the time you have to jump through hoops. You have email as the only channel of communication with a lot of companies. while older people are working on Facebook, so you could have Messenger as one channel. They're maybe on TikTok. You could even have that as a channel, but you can only reach the companies through email. And that's part of making, I mean, if we solve for that more, we would be making buying easier. And that essentially is part of connecting in the delight phase, as Yamini sees it. So a lot of very, very interesting input from her. I think to me, that was one of the most inspirational keynotes, but we also heard from a couple of different other people that we just briefly like to share. And one of them, a true inbound legend, I'd say, is Marcus Sheridan. So he's one of the old timers. I think he's spoken at pretty much every, or was it actually every single inbound he's spoken at?
Yeah, I think more or less. Yeah.
So if you've been part of the HubSpot community for a while, you've probably heard about him or heard from him. But the very brief story is he started this company, Riverside Pool and Spas. Anyway,
Pool and Spas, yeah.
They make pools. They make fiberglass pools. And he was in this company during the great financial crisis of the 2000s. Everything started going south and he needed a solution to it. He found a solution in content marketing, became the biggest pool content marketing network in the world, became the biggest pool company in their market, completely crushed that market. And he saw how much power content marketing had, and he turned from being a pool guy to a content marketing guy. Always a great story from him, and always a very, very inspiring presentation of them as well. He's the author of this They Ask You Answer, by the way, as well. I consider this core literature to anyone working in inbound, so definitely recommend reading up on that. But he made a couple of interesting points about succeeding today, and really connected with this connectivity issue in terms of delivering the right content at the right time. So interestingly, what he noticed was a recent Gartner study that said that 33% of all buyers prefer to have what he calls a seller-free sales experience. And that's a very interesting development, because that number has been rising over the last couple of years. So a full third of the market, and only rising, actually don't want to talk to sales at any point in the sales journey, not just very late, but they would prefer not to talk to sales at all. And 75% of buyers and sellers in a different study by McKinsey say that they now prefer digital self-serve and remote human engagement over face-to-face interactions. So that's a different perspective on this connectivity, that a lot of people, actually 3/4, prefer not to meet in person ever, or at least most of the time. So he calls this the new era of self-service bias, and gives essentially 3 solutions to what you can do today. It's not the full solution, but it's 3 things that you could deploy. So it's self-scheduling, giving visitors or users the ability to schedule time with your sales team without having to talk to you first. I think HubSpot's meeting tool is an obvious solution to this. It's self-selection, the second one, giving visitors the ability to make important decisions by you guiding them essentially to a conclusion. Content marketing, blogging is the obvious answer to this. And then it's self-pricing. Giving visitors or buyers the ability to, at a minimum, at least get a price range or an idea of the pricing of your product. If you're something like a SaaS, just outright giving the product price. A pricing page is the obvious solution to this.
Pricing page, pricing calculator, everything in between. But it's just really important that you have the possibility to see like a price range before buying a product.
Exactly. So overall, I think a very interesting idea, and something that we will be looking into a lot more, this self-service and how you can make self-service a bigger part of the customer experience. And then one final one I just very briefly would like to share with you was from Neil Patel, the CEO god, or whatever you call it, SEO god, talking about how to beat the search and social algorithms in this space of increasing data awareness, because we've been so reliant on data so far, and all these algorithms are changing to accommodate this change. So basically the short answer that Neil gave is, we don't know what works. That's always been the case, but it's increasingly that we don't know what works. But he has tested some things, and he has some signals at least for what might work. And I'm not going to go through all this. It was very tactical. All these sessions are available to you. You can find them online. So if you're working in performance marketing or with social media, I definitely recommend checking out Neil Patel's inbound session. But just very briefly, some of the signals that he did share that I think are quite interesting in terms of LinkedIn. Some of these might not be that surprising to you, but at least they're proof from one of the guys who really knows his stuff that that's what's working. So comments can make you go viral. Also one of his most important points. So many posts we see go out and then you get like 50 different likes, 0 comments. You need to be part of the community. Again, it ties back to connectivity. You need to actually actively engage in conversation and not just be someone yelling in an open room. So comments, super, super important. LinkedIn absolutely loves video content. We're testing this out a lot on our own channels. You might have seen this. It seems to outperform a lot of the other content, at least on organic. Fresh features are favored. They're rolling out all these new features all the time. Some of them may seem gimmicky, some of them might seem very core, but try to use them because they'll always be giving them an advantage in the algorithm. And then I think making these punchy text-based posts with no links is interesting signal as well, what's happening with them. But a final one I think is quite interesting is this whole issue of employee advocacy. Your employees' activity have a very direct impact on your brand's reach, sort of a finalizing point he made. So a lot of different takes on connecting data and connecting people to the right data, and connecting your data with the right reps so that they can connect more with your customers. That was our main takeaway from Inbound 2022.
Yeah. So with that great presentation of all the strategic inbound sessions, I will now go in more depth with the HubSpot product updates and also the new features. So again, just to tie back to what Emil already told us, like the overall theme for inbound this year was the age of the connected customer. And why is that? So it is that today the average company has 242 SaaS apps, which means again that we have a hard time connecting our data. We have a hard time connecting to our prospects, our customers. Companies are disconnected from their customers, as Emil said, and then companies need more than data. They need context and transparency, and company needs more than content. They need connection through the buyer's journey. So all these themes ties directly into the product updates and the new product launches. So how does HubSpot solve for this problem with lack of connectivity? So today we are happy to introduce some of the new features and some of the product updates with you. So we're going to run through marketing campaigns that got a really great update. We're going to run through custom reporting that also got a really nice update. The same with a new feature called customer journey mapping or analytics. Personally, I'm really excited for this one. I'm really happy to soon test it out once it goes in public beta. Crafted data management as well, and then customization of the CRM. So the last one here has been underway for quite some time, and I know that in the HubSpot community, people have been upvoting this feature for more than a year. So it's also pretty exciting that this is going to be outrolled now. So let's start with the marketing campaigns. So the overall, you could say, theme for really giving a huge update to marketing campaigns was that today we are seeing that campaigns are not converting the way they used to, both with the privacy changes, as Emil said, and also search and ads not being that effective as they used to be. So what HubSpot did is that they now have changed marketing campaigns to be more of a command center to the whole marketing team. So this means that today you will actually be able to cross-reference all the touch points you have throughout a marketing campaign, and you will also be able to attribute all your things back to a campaign. So this means both revenue attribution, it means how many site visits you have or page views you have, how many contacts created, and so forth. Everything will now be tied back to the campaigns, and you will have this overall command center where you can see the performance of each campaign. Then you can also automatically tie the spend that you used on your campaigns directly back to the growth in this really great dashboard as well for the marketing campaigns. And you can also compile every asset you have in the channel and then again report across the campaigns. So you will have the possibility to have a dashboard looking into each campaign set, but you can also have a dashboard views comparing all your different campaigns, both on spend, attribution, context, and so forth. So what essentially is the really great thing about this marketing campaigns update is that you get a full overview of your performance across deals, revenue, contacts, and you're able to set goals and track performance in relation to these goals. So now you also have the possibility to actually set a goal once you launch a campaign and see how you are performing against that goal. But I think the really great part of this is now you will be able to attribute back to deals, revenue, and contacts based on those campaigns. So everything will be tied together now in the marketing campaigns part of HubSpot, which I think is really a great update to the whole marketing hub, I would say, because now we really have the possibility to do some attribution based on the marketing initiatives that we're doing. Then we have an update for custom reports. So on inbound, the product officer was introducing rich drilling reports, which enable you to do attribution reports based on HubSpot's 9 different attribution models. So these 9 attribution models we already knew before coming to inbound. I put them on the slide here. But what is quite interesting with this update is that now you also get the possibility to slice and dice and open up the entire buyer's journey. So now you have much better possibility to open up these different attribution models, and then you can slice and dice in the data as you want to, and you can have a lot of different views, and you can also use different property views as well. So now we have an even better chance to really deep dive in our data. And this is a really great update to the custom reports tool, which has been on the way for quite some time. But we are really excited to see that HubSpot is doing a lot of great initiatives on attribution, again, because we really need to be able to tie the data together. And that has been a problem for quite some time, I would say, for HubSpot. So we're really excited about this as well. The slides will be available afterwards, and I put in some different links, so you will be able to deep dive into the attribution models as well. Then we have the new feature called Customer Journey Mapping or Analytics. It's in a beta right now. It's been in a private beta for quite some time, but 1st of October, it will go into a public beta. So what you can do if you want to play around with this tool, and I will just elaborate a bit on what you can actually do with the tool, is that you can contact your HubSpot contact person. You can see that in your portal who is tied to your account, and you can ask for this beta once it goes public. So introducing this customer journey mapping enables you to view all marketing moments on one timeline, essentially. So now we have the possibility to look into our entire funnel or our entire buyer's journey. So now you'll have an overview of all your marketing touchpoint and see where your leads are continuing the journey, and you will have access to the full buyer's journey on a timeline in real time. So you will essentially be able to see how the funnel is narrowing. So are they falling off the buyer's journey with marketing emails or ads, or are they continuing their journey because they interacted with ads or because of our great lead nurturing flows, or what is actually happening? This feature also gives you the opportunity to optimize, of course, the buyer's journey, but also to kill off the journeys that don't work. So you will also be able to see where people falling off in the buyer's journey, where do we need to improve, and which ways maybe do we need to kill off? Is something not working for us, or should we optimize it?
Maybe the feature we've been requesting the very most.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
It's so nice.
But you will also be able actually to filter on key data such as list memberships and dissect their journey. So this one I'm really excited to play around with. So let's say that you have a really specific lists of MQLs or SQLs, or even maybe if we talk about SaaS customers, you have a great list of active freemium users. Now you can take this list and you can upload it into this customer journey analytics, and then you can see specific on this list of users, how does their buyer's journey looks like. So you can actually dissect it based on key data points, or you can have it as an overall view. So this one is actually, it's my favorite new feature. I'm really excited about it, and really excited that it's going into a public beta. So actually you will also have the possibility to start playing around with it really soon. Then we have the crafted data management. So this is not in a public beta yet, but I wanted to go through it as well, because it's a really exciting new feature for HubSpot, also really be looking into the quality of their data. So you could say that the power of reporting is only as good as the data we have in our CRM, but what if our data is a mess? And I know that a lot of you here will also know that you have a lot of data in your CRM, but you're not really utilizing it all. So what HubSpot did is that they built this crafted data management. So you will now have a new data model overview that will visualize your data quickly and easily. So you can see what different data sets you have, but you will also have the possibility to actually start building custom objects without having to use developer time. So they built this new feature where you can sit as a marketeer and build your own custom objects, and you can just edit it really nice in their new editor tool. And also we will have property validation, which allow you to specify rules on properties such as a minimum or maximum input to secure clean data. And this means that you can catch errors before import. So let's say that you have a property on phone number, then you can set a minimum or a maximum amount of characters to put in this property before it will actually take in the data. So now you will have the possibility not to have that much of error in your properties if you can set a minimum or a max. And there will be some other different rules you can set, but this is also quite nice. Just all those key properties you're using for scoring your ICP, you will now be able to set up rules so you know that sales is maybe putting in the right data for you guys to work with as well. Also with the crafted data management, also enable us to setting rules for missing data, such as renewal dates. And this has also been upvoted quite a lot in the HubSpot community, but now you can actually automate and calculate renewal dates based on start and end date of contracts. So let's say that you are a SaaS company and you're selling maybe 1 year of subscriptions, and then you need to have like maybe a handhold renewal of these subscriptions. So now you can actually calculate the renewal date, and then you can set up a task for your salespeople. So this has also been quite a nice feature that is now available or soon will be available. So you can start setting up rules for actually calculating properties that you can then set up automation and tasks on. And then also, this is also quite exciting, you will have a new data quality command center that will help you clean all your data. So this data quality command center will constantly watch your data and pipelines to help you catch common mistakes, duplicates, and find and fix broken data sinks. And then you can also turn on some AI for data optimization suggestions. So what HubSpot essentially did also to make sure that we are connecting with our customers in the right way is that they built this quality command center to stay on top of all your data, find all the duplicates, help you catch the common mistakes. So if you just are putting in the wrong data in the properties, it will help you find those errors. But I'm also quite excited to test out this AI, So having AI going through and really optimizing the way you are putting data in HubSpot and see which data optimization suggestions will be available. This is not in a public beta yet, so stay tuned once it goes in a public beta. It was quite challenging to figure out when they will release this, because this was really something that they have been working a lot on. So we will let you know once it goes in public beta.
But quite soon, most likely, since they released it here.
Yes, exactly. And then we have the customization of the CRM, which is also in beta, but it is also in public beta. So as the same with the customer analytics mapping, you can also reach out to your HubSpot contact person to get access to the public beta on this customization of the CRM. So this is also quite exciting. So now you will have the possibility to customize all CRM views exactly how you want to, based on defined sections and integrations. So what is quite interesting here is that now you will have the opportunity to build custom integrations directly into the CRM with the custom integration tab. So in the CRM now you will have a tab called Customer Integration tab, and then you can set up integrations directly on deal timelines, contact timelines, company timelines, with data you want to have imported into HubSpot, which is really important for you to have in your CRM. You will also have the possibility to tailor what is shown on the sidebars, both left and right, and you can change cards and actions. So if you have some cards right now in the normal or the old CRM view that you are never using, now you will have the possibility to actually remove those cards, and you will also have the possibility to figure out which cards you want on the top, the middle, and the bottom, and you can actually just create the CRM view as you want. And then you can also build different views for each team, which allows marketing, sales, and service to work more efficiently. So right now, once you set up global properties for how the left sidebar should be in the CRM, that you can only do that for everyone in HubSpot right now in your portal. But what you will do now is that now you can build custom views based on teams. So you can actually have one CRM view for the marketing team with those properties that they use every day. You can have one view for sales with the properties they need to work with, and the same goes for service. And you can also, here you will have the possibility to customize everything on the sidebars and the cards as well. So this is quite exciting. So everything in the CRM will more or less be open for customization, but what is really important here is also the integrations parts, that now you can integrate whatever data you want directly into the CRM. So if you have other systems, maybe like G2 for SaaS companies, you can have that directly on the timeline as well.
I think this is really the clearest sign that HubSpot has been trying to solve for larger companies for quite a while, right? And then they really nailed it with marketing, and then they are nailing it with sales. I think they're there now, and now they're getting there with CRM and services, well, that works not just for like medium-sized enterprises, but for the very, very big ones as well. And you need features like this for that to work.
Exactly. So we have also discussed a lot that HubSpot has been lacking in terms of doing funnel reporting. So that's why we're also pretty excited for the customer mapping analytics, because now we can actually do real funnel reports and see how our different life cycle stages are progressing through their buyer's journey directly with all the data in HubSpot. And also now you will be able to tie it much better back to LinkedIn and so forth, because they will also be a part of the attribution in the customer mapping analytics. So that will be quite exciting. Yeah. So HubSpot also used quite some time to talk about HubSpot Payments. HubSpot Payments is unfortunately only available in the US with a timeline of Q4 23 or Q1 or Q2 2024 before it's available in Europe. But there is happening some quite exciting things on the payments part. So what they essentially now are rolling out in the US is that you will be able to tie HubSpot directly to accounting systems. So you can tie quotes directly to accounting. You can send out what would you say?
Invoices.
Yeah, invoices directly from HubSpot as well. But you will also be able to take payments directly on quotes, so you can pay directly within the system. But again, it's only enrolled in the US right now, and this also it's because of the data and privacy again. So different rules for Europe, and it will take more time to roll that feature out in Europe as well.
It's a long timeline, but I think it's still worth
timeline.
mentioning, because for SaaS, it's so interesting to be able to do fully automated payments. It's everything from the second they make the sale,
Yes.
and then it's just fully automated. So it's going to be nice. It's going to be worth the wait, but we'll have to have some patience.
Yeah, so maybe we will next year we will know more about the payments and what has been rolling out in Europe as well. And then also what is worth mentioning before jumping to the Q&A is that they really work operations hub into the system even more. So all the things we talked about in terms of the data quality command center and stuff like that, they will be that will play a big part of the whole operation hub setup. So if you haven't looked into Operations Hub yet, and you think that it's really interesting to start working with the AI and all the data command center stuff, I would suggest you to start looking into the possibilities with Operations Hubs as well.
Yeah.
And I think that was actually it for now with all the new updates and features. So
in terms of, if I can just add, in terms of payment, Christian Nielsen is making an interesting point in the chat about there being an easy workaround with registering a company in the US and then using HubSpot payments, but have to create a new Stripe account for this to work. I think that's an interesting workaround. We'll have a closer look at that.
And I think that now we're ready for the Q&A. So if you have any questions for the product updates or the new feature launches, just please type them in. So if the questions are really specific, I hope we can answer them. But again, since a lot of the new features are in private betas, we really haven't had that much time to play around with them. But we're quite excited to do so.
I think especially the whole cohort analysis.
Yeah.
I think if you worked in Google Analytics before, it's gonna appear similar to what you're doing in cohort analytics there. This whole like measuring the whole journey throughout the funnel is something that we've been doing quite manually. I mean, all the data is already there, right? That's why people have been requesting it so much, is that you have all those data points, you're just not presenting them to us.
Exactly.
So you had to sort of scroll through these mile-long contact records and then sort of piece individual journeys together. And now it's just one click, you have the entire journey, you can filter it by lists and everything. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's a really great update, but I think that's also what HubSpot has been lacking the most, is that buyer's journey overview. Because as you said, we have all the data in HubSpot, but we haven't been able to tie it together. But it's also since they launched Operations Hub, they start building even more data transparency into the product, and the same goes with the data command center, that you will, with Operations Hub, you will have a lot of possibility to actually dissect further into all your data. So that's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, I think for all of those of you that are like working as managers of a larger portal with a large amount of users and a large amount of data flowing through, I think this data command quality center is going to be a key feature going forward. Really excited about that one as well.
Yeah. So I think that we haven't got any questions in the Q&A, and I can see that nothing snuck into the general instead. So I think that we will just end today's session these 10 minutes before, and then you feel free to send any questions directly to me or Emil, and we will send all the slides to you after the session is done. And as I said, I put in links directly on the slides as well for you guys to look into these updates on your own. Great.
Yeah. See you out there in the world,
See
friends.
you. Bye.